we have, yeah, we have two pretty strong players competing against each other. So it should be good games, should be interesting games. So I'm going to open with the first game, which is going to be Uranus against Isis on the Fields of Punishment, which is a custom map. And I don't really know too much about it, so it's going to be a bit of an unusual map. Like every best of series in this tournament is going to have one. It has one of these custom new unusual maps that they play on, and as we can see, it's sort of a bit like Ghost Lake on the E, where you have all these goats just sort of littered around the map, and then you also have this 3 starting boar, and it's also a bit like maybe, well, it's not actually like Tundra. There's not quite as much hunt as there would be on Tundra, but yeah, there's 3 starting boars, which is quite a lot. And if we look at the town centers, they're both like quite forward, quite far away from the starting position, but they're very split up on opposite ends of the map. So like it might be difficult for MyIsisBestGod to use mercenaries well as Isis on this map, seeing how the town centers are positioned. Like, they're not really positioned aggressively enough, and as we can see, these walking berry bushes have these aggressive Gaia units, so they're like chasing the Argyle around. It's got 2 attack, and it's 25 health, so it's not that strong, but it's going to be a sort of nasty aggressive Gaia unit. Like, you don't see that in maps nowadays, like this sort of thing. These Gaia units that go around attacking your goats and attacking your scouts. So it looks like it's going to kill a goat here. Unfortunate for Makaveli, he's going to lose a goat to this walking berry bush. Meanwhile, if we look at MyIsisBestGod, he also seems to be running into these walking berry bushes. As Priest is able to take one out. Looks like the Priest is using his... Like, I don't know if these walking berry bushes are myth units, but the Priest is doing quite a lot of damage to it, despite being just archaic age, so I think they are. So, MyIsisBestGod's Priest is going to be able to take out those 2 walking berry bushes without a problem. He's also scouted his forward elk over here, which he's going to want to gather up. You definitely don't want to get pushed off this elk by the Ranos. He's also got the Staff of Dionysus here. It's a very good relic in the long term for your food gather rate. Like, this boosts your food income a lot in the long term, but in the short term, like, it means that you'll have sort of this little hiccup where you don't have enough food, maybe because it increases your carry capacity, and then like your villagers aren't dropping off their food for a while, that means. So yeah, you have to be careful when you get this relic, but it's definitely a good relic. For Makaveli, we see he hasn't quite seen his relic yet. I'm not sure where his relic is. It's over here. The Trias bow. Well, it's not really on his side, but then, you know, this is another good relic. 2 archer range. Yeah, that's a big deal. Whoever has this relic would have the advantage in like Arcus and Chariot Archer fights, because range really matters when it comes to these archers facing off against each other. And these Terma too. This will be very beneficial for slingers against Terma if that does happen this game. So you definitely want to pick this relic up. You see Makaveli just being bullied by these like very vicious. Poor Makaveli. Though it looks like it might un-aggro onto this Oracle and maybe aggro onto this goat. I don't know. that's really funny anyway. These nasty berry bushes just causing havoc everywhere. So it looks like Makaveli is going to be a little bit late on the temple. He's also building it with his food villager, so that tells me he's not going to be advancing at 4:30, the standard advance time for the Ranos, but instead he's going to be making an extra citizen, I think. And I'm not sure this temple will be up on time. I feel like it's not. It's just barely not enough. Oh no, he can advance. So the temple was barely up on time, and he could have advanced at 4:30, but instead he's going to go for an extra villager, so an 8 citizen advance for for Makaveli, and with that, I think maybe he might go for this second town center while advancing. It does sort of protect a gold mine, and he does know it. The other town center here, it's a bit sketchy to grab that because he's against Isis, and Isis's fast heroic can really sort of punish any aggressive TC grabbing. So maybe he'll grab this town center to the side. And looking at MyIsisBestGod's perspective, he's actually going to be up classic at 4 minutes, so that's really, really early. He's also got 9 villagers on gold and only 2 on food, so it looks like he's gearing up to grab a second fast town center, presumably this town center. Yeah, he's just scouting it with a Sphinx now, and he sees that this town center protects the back gold mine, so this is a really, really good town center. If he takes this town center, then he's not going to have to worry about being gold starved. So, yep, he's moving his pharaoh and villagers over to it now. But he has to be careful about having enough food to make villagers constantly while investing 100 food into making this town center. So, looks like he might... Nope, he doesn't have any idle TC time. These villagers drop off their food just in time. And yeah, like, Makaveli is not going to be able to stop MyIsisBestGod from hunting here because of his later advance, so that's a downside. But then advancing later does give you a bit better of an economy. You do get more resources if you advance later, but it means that he's not going to be able to push Isis off of hunt. And every bit of hunt Isis can get is a really big deal. It's really important for Isis to get as much hunt as possible. But I feel like MyIsisBestGod might be running into food problems once Makaveli makes a bit of an army and he shoves him off of food, because like these boars aren't safe to gather, and like these elk here, like these are sort of out these 3 elk in a board sort of out in the middle of nowhere, so he's not going to be able to gather it safely. And ideally, as Isis, you really don't want to be making farms to have to go to the heroic age. You want to be hunting. Like, making farms just slows you down so much. He is making a barracks, so he might be classic fighting a bit, but then I'm not sure what units he can be making. Like, he can't really be making spearmen because like food is so scarce, and he's not really ready to make slingers with only 1 villager on wood and no hand axe. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if going for this classic fight here is the right play. Like, he's not going to be able to produce much of an army with this kind of economy. And here we see Makaveli does find out about this hunt here, and he's got his 2 mini Prometheans running around and trying to harass these villagers. But then the priest is here, so they're not going to be able to do much. And Makaveli, he doesn't have any army yet to be able to harass this hunt spot. He's just gotten his first few units out. 6 minutes in, he's used Valor, and he's going to be able to force the Sphinx away. And he's going to have plenty of food, it seems. Yeah, he's got the berries here. He's got 3 boars here, and well, these caribou these elk in the middle of the map, they might be a bit iffy, but then like until Isis is in the heroic age with a big army, like there's plenty of time for Makaveli to gather up these elks before Isis gets strong and is able to stop Makaveli from gathering it. Makaveli, in the meantime, he's gone for a second town center at 6:30, so that's pretty early for randos. Usually they grab a second town center with like 7 minutes, but that's the effect of advancing later. You get more resources, so you can grab your second town center sooner if you advance later. The later you advance, the more resources you have, and that way he's still going to be able to produce lots of army without like he's not going to have to sacrifice much army production to be able to get this town center up. He has turned off the Murmelo production, which might be problematic against a pre-siege kind of strategy, but I'm not sure if MyIsisBestGod is doing that. No, he's got the barracks out, so I don't think he's going for a pre-siege. Instead, he's making slingers. And yeah, this Terma-based Atlantean army is really good against... It's really good against what the Egyptians have, the spearmen and the slingers, namely. Like the... So Machiavelli's definitely got the advantage in unit composition, I think. If I was MyIsisBestGod and I have this kind of map, then I feel like a pre-siege sort of army composition might be better to go for than these barracks units. He's also housed. Oh no! Come on. He's also being housed. So a bit sloppy macro from MyIsisBestGod being housed like this. It's really gonna hurt his economy. He's also got the Pharaoh here empowering these 5 gold miners instead of these 18 villagers on this berry bush. So yeah, the Pharaoh is a bit out of position in terms of where it should be empowering, and he's also got to be really careful now because he's not going to have enough food to go to the heroic age. And he's got enough gold. He's got 500 gold, but that gold he's gonna have to start farming soon because he's not going to be able to go heroic like this. And this Pharaoh really needs to stop empowering the gold and go over here and help make sure that the food income is as high as it can, because like all these goats and all these berries, they're not giving MyIsisBestGod as much food as they can be. Yeah. So yeah, this is a bit sloppy play from MyIsisBestGod. I think Pharaoh here not empowering, and I'm not sure if this Slinger army is worth it. Like, especially seeing as his laborers, they don't have the eco upgrades to support this to support a good to support like enough income for a good army. It's like without hand axe, these slingers. The 60 wood for slingers actually just takes so long to gather, like without hand axe. Hand axe really makes your wood gather rate as Egyptian so much faster. And now he goes for prosperity. That's a little bit strange. He's got 10 laborers here, and he's got 6 here. So it's 15 villagers on. It's a 15 villager prosperity, but his Pharaoh is still in sort of the wrong place. And with this gold, like, I don't think he can actually do anything with this gold except just make more farms. He doesn't have the map control to extend out to a new settlement. He's not in the heroic age, so he can't be doing a pre-siege. And yeah, so it's prosperity just to make farms. So I don't know about that. Yeah, I feel like he should have maybe tried to make a play to get these boars or these other animals, because right now, like, he's relying a lot on farms for his economy, so he's going to be behind Makaveli, and given how forward these town centers are, that could mean that MyIsisBestGod is stuck in a 4-2 TC disadvantage, since he's farming so early. Yeah, Makaveli can just be taking map control easily. He can go heroic with all the food without having to farm, and be ahead in tech and be able to win any fights. And that also means that he's going to be able to take the forward town centers. And as you can see here, he is going to try to steal this forward town center here. I believe I'm not sure which forward town center belongs to. They're both like pretty far out in the middle for both players. I think this is sort of MyIsis's town center, though it's sort of, yeah, it's really far out. But the good thing for MyIsis is that he doesn't have to worry about being gold starved, seeing as he does have this beautiful back gold mine here protected by the town center. He can take his time and go Mythic Age slowly, and eventually Makaveli will have to start farming as well eventually, but then he'll be stuck in a 4-2 TC situation, and then it'll be up to him to use Son of Osiris and Ancestors and Eclipse to push back against this 4-2 town center and try to secure his own town center, in which case, if he does, he could still win. But he's got to be smart about it. It looks like he finally has eco ups. He's finally got pickaxe. He's finally got hand axe. He's also got some good farming upgrades. And maybe shaft mine would be good here since he's running out. He's got a pretty substantial army. He's got 116 population of slingers. He needs to be careful here about losing this villager to this raid here. No, but he does keep it alive, so that's good. That's good for MyIsisBestGod. But then he does seem to be behind quite a bit, just because he's farming. Like, imagine Makaveli is going to be heroic age soon. Yeah, Makaveli is actually advancing to their heroic age right now, earlier than MyIsisBestGod, despite taking this third town center and having this big army with medium upgrades as well. Like this army from MyIsisBestGod, it's like mostly slingers. It's got 2 axemen, and that's like even though Makaveli's army isn't very heavy on Murmillo, like 2 axemen isn't really going to be enough to defeat these Murmillo. Yeah, the army of MyIsisBestGod doesn't have anything like to beat Makaveli's Murmillos. So if that fight does happen, then MyIsisBestGod will lose unless he uses Ancestors and Eclipse. In which case, it would be a bit sad to use it because it's not like Makaveli could just run away if it gets used. Garaki, no, this is on Voobly Balance Patch 4.0, so it's a new balance patch. They did it's pretty similar to 3.0, apart from some nerfs to Oranos and Set mainly. The nerfs being mainly directed at Hyperion, but I don't think they're too drastic. The nerfs are mainly at Satyrs and the number of chaos charges. So if we look here, yeah, Makaveli only has 2 chaos charges. Now we see a fight breaking out. Devastating shockwave coming down from Makaveli. It shockwaves all the slingers, and then with the slingers being archers, the Terma are able to pick off the slingers so quickly after they're being shockwaved. And you can see MyIsisBestGod's army has already been annihilated. He's trying to extend out here and grab this Migdol, but it looks like it's not going to happen. This Migdol, it's not going to go up. Oh dear. Yeah, he really didn't need to push out for this Goldman yet. He really didn't need to. He should have known that he was not going to win fights when he invested so many resources into farms. No, it's not. I don't think it's a matter of Ancestors and Eclipse doing nothing. It's that MyIsisBestGod, he got forced off of, well, he not really forced off, but he went to farms super early while Makaveli just had map control, and that meant that he was on farms really early on. So he's made 20 farms, while if we look at Makaveli's side, Makaveli hasn't invested a single resource in farms, and he's been hunting the whole time. So he's been enjoying a better gather rate and not having to put 1,500 resources into improving his food, into just being able to gather food. So he had a much better army because he didn't invest all these resources into farms, as well as from being Atlantean and having that stronger early game. And with that, he's able to defeat MyIsisBestGod's army here easily with Shockwave. This unit composition that he has with all these Terma and the Murmillo, it's also a perfect unit composition against what MyIsisBestGod has. He just his slingers, he just didn't have enough slingers to be able to beat these Terma, and with Shockwave, they just die so fast. Yeah. So I'm not really sure about this decision of MyIsisBestGod to extend out and try to build this forward Migdol here. I guess he wanted to push against the 4 town centers of Makaveli. He wanted to do a bit of a push here, but yeah, he just didn't have the army to back up putting this forward Migdol, and he honestly think that he should have gone Mythic before trying to extend out, because Son of Osiris would be really, really helpful in winning these fights. Having that Son of Osiris out is absolutely huge, and also having a Mummy, which will also be eclipsed, and also and having extra favor for more Satyrs and stuff. You have a better chance of winning the fight then, I think, if you wait a bit. And he's got all the time in the world. This gold mine, it's not running out anytime soon. He's still got 3,000 gold left. Yeah, he really did. I feel like it was a bit early to try and forward build on this Migdol. Maybe I guess he didn't want to be stuck on barracks in this all games. He wanted to get some war elephants out, but still war he doesn't really have the food economy for war elephants, and chariots are just bad here against all these Terma. So I don't think it really makes sense to try and establish his forward Magdal. Like, just make a siege works at home, queue a bunch of siege towers and go mythic, and then leave your base with a bunch of myth units, Slinger, Son of Osiris. Yeah, I feel like that would have worked a lot better. Yeah, so he resigns the game after losing this fight and getting pushed off the Magdal, and I think it's sort of understandable since he was at a pretty large disadvantage after that. So, okay, we're going to move on to the next game. In this case, we see the roles being reversed a bit. We see Makaveli this time going for Ra, and MyIsisBestGod playing Uranus. So last game we saw Makaveli being Uranus against Isis, and this game we see Makaveli being the Egyptian and MyIsisBestGod being the Atlantean player, playing Uranus. The map is Blue Lagoon, and this is a pretty high hunt map. Like, as you can see, there are giraffes here. Like, yeah, there are giraffes everywhere, and then the gold is sort of like it's sort of fairly aggressively positioned. Like, as you can see, this town center, it's not really protecting any gold. This gold mine is also quite forward. So, yeah, the gold mines are definitely really aggressively positioned, and Uranus could, like, it's definitely very scary for a Ra player to play Uranus on this map because of how aggressive the gold is, and just like the potential to be gold starved. And the fact that it's high hunt also means that Uranus is going to have a really nice economy on this map. The Shadoof and the rain that Ra does, it's not going to be as important on a map that has this much hunt. Like, you see there are 3 giraffes here, and a gazelle, 2 elephants, more giraffes here. Where are the Uranus players' elephants, actually? I'm not quite seeing them. Yeah, the Uranus players has elephants here. They're quite a bit further out than the Ra player's elephants, it seems, but since he's Uranus, he should be able to secure these elephants and try to take them and have this really nice army and advance time without needing to go for farms. In terms of the starting gold, I can say that Makaveli has a pretty good starting gold mine. It's protected. It's kind of protected by this cliff and this tower, and having this starting gold mine in a good position is really important in Ra against Uranus, because like you can just lose to being kicked off your starting gold mine as Ra against an aggressive player. It happens a lot. So having this starting gold mine being in this position is actually really nice for Makaveli. Like, if he just chucks a bit of a wall in front of it, then MyIsisBestGod would have a difficult time harassing it. He would have to go all the way around this cliff, which is and also be seen by this tower if he actually wants to go for any harass on this gold mine. You see this giraffe, it's died quite far away from the granary, so that's a little bit unfortunate. I actually would just make a new granary here as Egypt, since they're free, and they build pretty quickly if you're empowering them. So I'd just make a new granary so that my villagers wouldn't have to walk so much when gathering this giraffe. Oh wow, I didn't notice, right? But then Makaveli also has an elephant over here, so I feel like, yeah, I feel like this is going to be quite important. This is another 750 food for Makaveli, and I'm not sure if MyIsisBestGod has another elephant like that. Yeah, MyIsisBestGod also has an elephant here. Yeah, and he sees this elephant, and he's definitely going to try to go for it. Ah, yeah, I forgot. Yes, I should change the score. I will be updating that right now. Okay, so now this giraffe is more or less finished. Now he's moving over to these elephants, and if we look from MyIsisBestGod point of view, he's sort of, I feel like he's over scouted his own side of the map a little bit. Like, he should have been scouting a bit more aggressively against Ra, but then he is starting to scout aggressively now. With these 3 oracles all going into very forward positions, but they're not going to know about this elephant. So the chance of MyIsisBestGod being able to deny Makaveli from hunting this elephant is very low, because he doesn't know about this. Well, he sort of can know it's there, because he does know he has a safe elephant here, so Makaveli should have an elephant also, but he doesn't know where the elephant is. Like, maybe he can deny it if he runs it as until Promethean's in just the right space, but then I feel like by that time, with these 7 villagers on the elephant with hunting dogs, by the time he gets to it, this elephant's going to be mostly gone, so yeah, I feel like there's, like, really not much for my MyIsisBestGod to be able to harass of Makaveli on this map. The only vulnerable spot is this gold mine, but then with a bit of a wall here, it's going to be actually a fairly defensible gold mine. We also see that Makaveli has found the head of Orpheus with his pharaoh, so that's going to improve the vision range of his buildings, and I think this is actually a pretty underrated relic. He's also moving more villagers to this elephant. I guess he wants to finish it faster just in case he gets knocked off of it. But yeah, that means that he's going to be able to get a lot more vision with this sentry tower, and he's going to be able to see MyIsisBestGod coming if he tries to go for raids. It's just it's just a pretty good relic to have. It's definitely one of the more underrated relics. I wouldn't say it's a game-changing relic most of the time, but it's a nice relic. We look at MyIsisBestGod. He's going for the standard 430 advance. He's got 4 villagers outside his base, which is a bit unusual. So I feel like he probably didn't split his villagers as well as he could have in the arcade cage. And he's going for double counter barracks, which means that he's going to go for lots of Terma, because Terma are very good against the classical Egyptian, and trying to raid Makaveli. But here's the thing: he doesn't know about this gold mine of Makaveli's. He doesn't know where the wood line is, so he doesn't actually know. And Makaveli's finished all his gathering now already at 5 minutes. So he doesn't actually have any good places to raid. There's one good spot he can raid from, and that is in front of the gold mine here, like right in front of it across the cliff. But he hasn't scouted the gold mine yet, so it might be problematic for him to try and get good raids in. Like with this kind of scouting, like seeing as Makaveli, seeing as Makaveli doesn't have much of not knowing any good spots to raid, it might actually have been better to just not go for this early Terma and to instead just grab a fast second town center. I mean, if I was Makaveli, I'd be pretty scared to grab my own 2 CC myself on this map because of how aggressive the gold is. But we see him going through Bast, and that's a pretty strong option and Ra against Uranus, but like you can definitely use Ptah as well. But that means, like, with 2 monuments and Bast, that means he's going to be going for a lot of myth unit action and to try to use some Sphinxes, maybe Pitsutros or Scarabs to win the game against this Uranus for a really strong timing push with Eclipse. Yeah, Eclipse is actually a really, really powerful god power. You can't underestimate it. So right now, like, I feel like he's either going to go for a fast heroic with some Pitsutros, or the other option here is to go for a fast mythic off of his starting gold mine, and use Son of Osiris, mummies, and scarabs to try and push back on MyIsisBestGod, as well as some barracks units. And we see him farming at 630 with 11 farms, so that's a good number, and it's also early enough so that the Uranus player isn't benefiting from the rain. It's also going to give him the food to get out a couple Sphinxes so he can get some counter raids in and defend his base a little bit better. As we can see here, the Terma are running around, but they do get spotted by this massive vision range of the tower and temple next to the relic. They are coming around here, and they are going to be able to harass the villagers on this gold mine. And that's a real weak point of Makaveli's base. He does have 2 Sphinxes here, but then if Isis Best God has the resources to just heroize this Terma, which it looks like he doesn't, then these Sphinxes won't be able to defend. Isis Best God is coming in, and he has more hero Terma, but why isn't he coming? Why isn't he coming in? He needs to move all these units right here onto the gold mine, and that would be really, really annoying for Makaveli, who only has Sphinxes to defend. Yeah, it could be so powerful. Just move on this gold mine. Like, I feel like Makaveli, like, maybe should have made an extra wall here on the cliff just to make sure that the Terma aren't poking at this gold mine. But this is a real missed opportunity for my Isis Best God here. Not bringing these Terma over to this side of the gold mine again, instead of backing out. Like, over here, he's... Like, he might be able to pick off a villager. Yep, he does manage to pick off a laborer. 2, in fact. So that's a good raid. That's definitely a good shockwave. But still, I feel like it probably would have been better to just be around this gold mine and just maneuver the army there. Like, I think he could have picked off 2 villagers on the gold mine anyway, and would also stop Makaveli from mining his only safe gold mine. So yeah, he really needs to make use of this army to do some raiding. He's moving the army around here, so maybe he looks like he's going to go for the long way around. Yep, he is. Isis Best God is going for the long way around to raid this gold mine to make sure that Makaveli doesn't see it coming. But I'm not sure, like, I mean, I'm just speaking from a spectator's point of view here, but then, like, we know that it's not really necessary since Makaveli can't actually do anything about it when he sees this army coming anyway. What Makaveli should do, I feel like he really should have a wall in front of this gold mine just to stop this raid from coming in, and now this raid is going to be really painful. At least my Isis Best God doesn't have shockwave, and he picks off a laborer here. And it's going to make so much idle time on this gold mine for Makaveli. There's going to be so much idle time created by these Terma. But now these Terma are backing out, and it looks like Makaveli is going to go back to the gold mine, but no, they're coming back in. And this is going to be just so annoying for Makaveli. He does have 4 spearmen coming in to defend. No, 5 spearmen. But these spearmen, these spearmen alone aren't going to be enough to defend it off. But the Sphinx are coming back as well, so now that's actually quite a decent army, and it looks like MyIsisBestGod Best God will be retreating out of there. Though maybe he could have chosen to fight this. Maybe he could have. Well, now he's using the choke point to fight this. He has to be careful. Oh no, he should pick off the Sphinx. Pick off the Sphinx. He should have definitely picked off the Sphinx. Now the Sphinx is going to go back and get healed up, and this gold mine is going to be mined by Makaveli without any problems. So right now we have 3 Sphinx for Makaveli, and he's also got a decent amount of favor. He's getting out some priests to heal them, and he's going to have some Petsutra, so that's going to be a really strong eclipse. It's going to be a really strong eclipse in the mid game. And MyIsisBestGod, however, is preparing for it. He's got 1 more charge of valor left. He's got 4 military buildings out queuing units. So now he's used all his valor charges. He's got 8 hero Terma. I believe he lost 1 to the spearmen around here, so that's a bit unfortunate. But I'm not sure if since the Terma are so fragile, I'm not sure if these 8 hero Terma are going to be enough to deal with what Makaveli has when time comes, especially against these spearmen, which do kill the Terma quite quickly.
Herr Joes?
So as we can see here, yeah, I missed it, but then you see Locust being used on MyIsisBestGod's farms, and it looks like it's going to take out 2 farms from MyIsisBestGod. And really, that's about as good as you can expect of a Locust to get against Atlantean. Like, Locust is usually not very good against Atlantean because of how tanky their villagers are, since it's an area effect thing. Like, it's just not really able to kill Atlantean villagers like other civs, so you tend to just try to get some farms against them, and he gets 2 farms, which is good enough. Like, keep in mind that with Hathor, like, even though you might think that the god power is quite lackluster, like, you do get 2 free myth units instead of just 1 from advancing. You get the rock and the Pitsutras, it's also it's also a very cost-effective myth unit to make. So, like, even despite this crappy god power, like Hathor is by no means a bad god. Oh yeah, also the tech for Hathor. What's it? Medjay. Yeah, Hathor increases the lifespan of mercenaries. Amazing technology for the late game. Yeah, so Hathor definitely, like, despite that, has its uses. And we see that MyIsisBestGod has Research Heart of the Titans, so he's able to convert all these Hero Murmillo, these Murmillos into Hero, and right now he is trying to fight, but he needs to micro these Murmillo a bit better. They're just getting picked off by the Spearmen. Makaveli is doing a really good job microing the Sphinx. They're dodging the Terma arrows. The Sphinx does go back in, and it looks like it might get picked off here. This Sphinx is going to go down, but this other Sphinx is right in the middle, and it's causing massive damage, while these Terma are just focusing the Spearmen. These Terma need to be focusing the myth units, and these Petsutros, they're just doing so much damage to the front line, but then, as we could see at the start of the fight, MyIsisBestGod did have a much bigger army, so this fight, it looks pretty even. It looks really even, but one thing I don't understand is why did MyIsisBestGod have to fight this? Like, it's like nothing much is really being pressured. He could have backed out and chosen not to fight the Eclipse. Yeah, right now both sides have lost lots of units, but then like, it turns out to be a pretty close fight, and right now MyIsisBestGod is chasing all these Petsutros. He's still got 4 Hero Terma left, but I don't think 4 Hero Terma is going to be enough to handle these 3 Eclipse Petsutros, and these Petsutros right now, they're just melting the Terma. Yeah, I definitely feel that Makaveli out-microed MyIsisBestGod in this fight, and this chase of the 3 Petsutros, like, that was definitely a mistake by MyIsisBestGod. Like, that fight could have gone fairly evenly, like maybe slightly in the favor of Makaveli, since he did use it. Like, he did use Eclipse, but then once he started chasing the Petsutros and losing all these extra units, like, right now you can say that Makaveli's definitely come out ahead. Let's look at the kill-death ratio. Yeah, we see 50 to 31. And keep in mind that Makaveli is losing these cheap Spearmen, which are cheaper than the Murmillos and the Terma that MyIsisBestGod has been producing in this fight. Yeah, these Petsutros just do so much damage when they're eclipsed. And the score does reflect that. Makaveli is ahead in score. He is ahead in score to MyIsisBestGod. Now Shockwave comes down, since Shockwave wasn't available due to Eclipse, or I'm not sure if Shockwave was actually up on the timer. I couldn't see, but it does come down now, but it doesn't do much. It just throws these Petsutros back. Like, maybe it would have been, like, yeah, and like, maybe it would have been better to throw the Petsutros more forward so that he could make some more heroes to just pick them off once they're in melee range, but throwing them back feels like just not the right move when they've got so much range. Right now they're still fighting, but MyIsisBestGod, he's running out of heroes. I mean, he doesn't have the resources to make more. He's definitely going broke, and these 2 Petsutros, they're just doing so much damage. Both sides are being super low on population right now. This fight, it's looking pretty close, but then MyIsisBestGod, he needs to make these really expensive Atlantean heroes just to be able to keep up with the Petsutros. Nope, it looks like Makaveli is coming out ahead in this confrontation. The Petsutros, these laser crocodiles are too much to handle. MyIsisBestGod just not having the heroes to keep up with it, and in the initial confrontation when he did have the heroes in the fight against Makaveli, he definitely made some micro errors. He wasn't focusing the myth units with his heroes, so right now, yeah, this game looks like it's definitely going in Makaveli's favor. Makaveli right now just killing all these units, just having like right in front of their spawn point, and MyIsisBestGod still not being able to deal with these Petsutros, and he's super low on resources as well. He should probably just cut his losses and retreat out of here with like what little army he has left. I mean, all these buildings, they're gonna fall. These buildings, he's gonna lose all his whole forward, and he's gonna have to rebuild and play from behind, which is very scary as Uranus against Ra. Yeah, we see 3 Petsuchos here and all these chariots. But Makaveli's army doesn't stand a chance. The Murmilos are still coming out of this military academy, but they're just getting picked off so fast. And if we look here at the post game, yeah, the kill death has now increased to 93 to 52. So previously it was a 20 kill lead for Makaveli, but now it's extended to a 40 kill lead. It's just getting worse and worse for MyIsisBestGod. Yeah, the Petsuchos, they're just so strong. It's amazing. They only cost 200 gold and 50 favor. Now that's really cheap. If you look at their damage, it's just insane. Yeah, they're just picking off all these Murmilos and all these units left and right. And Makaveli is now taking the forward TC of MyIsisBestGod. And I don't think MyIsisBestGod has the resources to prevent that. Like, he doesn't have the army to prevent that. He's losing all his production now. He's got a couple Terma here, but none of them are heroes. None of them are going to be able to like actually beat these units here. It's just getting pushed in, and it looks like instead of Oranos gold starving the Ra, we might see the Ra gold starving the Oranos. We look here, Makaveli has found MyIsisBestGod's gold mine, and he is going to be able to do a bit of a raid here. And he's also building a Migdal on the other gold mine of MyIsisBestGod, and if we see MyIsisBestGod has no other gold mines, this is going to be a gold starve. I don't think MyIsisBestGod can come back from this situation. Yeah, he's not going to be able to get gold. Now this Migdal comes up. This gold mine is no longer going to be available for MyIsisBestGod, and this gold mine is too far out in the middle of nowhere, and MyIsisBestGod taps out. I think he does realize it. He does know that he's behind. He's really behind the score. He's lost his forward town center. He's got no gold left. There's just no way for him to come back there, and seeing that, I think he taps out. So yeah, well, we see a really nice heroic push from Makaveli using Eclipse and the Petsuchos and some Sphinx, along with some really nice micro to win a fight in heroic and keep pushing forward. And then once all the heroes around us run out with Valor, it's just so expensive to replace any heroes, and MyIsisBestGod, he wasn't able to afford to replace them to keep going to keep pushing here. He also wasn't able to go heroic because he spent so many resources in making these hero Murmilo for that initial fight, which I feel like it might have worked. It might have worked, but he didn't micro them well enough, and they just got picked off by all the spearmen and the priests and stuff before they were able to clear out the Petsuchos that were really tearing his army apart. So yeah, we see this game go to Makaveli. I definitely would have favored Oranos on this map, but then this mid game Eclipse push, that was definitely a victory for Makaveli. I feel like, and definitely well played by Makaveli there, and just being able to get a 20 kill death lead. That's what, and snowball it. That's how Makaveli won the game. So, right now we still have more games left, but I'm going to change to the I've noticed that I have some issues when using the same patch for all these maps. So I'm actually going to just change the patch I'm on real quick, because I find that the last game goes out of sync on the blind pick mod for when I'm running this on the blind pick mod. Okay, so this is the third game. It's going to be Thor against Isis on Midgard, and as you can see, Makaveli, he's sending his starting dwarves to wood. I get that. I get that this is the game that I think a lot of people have been sort of hyped for. They want to see how Makaveli plays this map, and so you see he's sending his starting dwarves to wood, and he's queued 2 gatherers, and he's queued 2 more doors, and he's used his starting gold mine straight away. He's also got a nice patch of fish. He's found a nice patch of fish under his dock right here, and he's immediately building it and making use of it. While MyIsisBestGod, he's kind of made a bit of a blind dock, which I don't really like, because you're going to have a bit of idle time on your dock anyway. Seeing as you're going to run out of that 100 starting wood. that you have. So yeah, this dock is going to be idle for a lot of the time anyway after it's made. So I feel like I don't really like this blind dock placement. I like scouting a little bit with the villager first, and also I also think it's better to empower the dock with a pharaoh. Like, I think the difference is something like 5 to 10 resources only. Like, it might not look like much, but in water where like sharp build orders matter, it's really quite important to just be as sharp as you can on everything. So looking back at Makaveli, he's got 4 on wood right now. He sent his 2 starting dwarves, and then he built 2 gatherers on wood, and then he's put 2 gatherers on gold. So I feel like I haven't actually seen this build order much, and I don't really know too much about Thor build orders in water. But yeah, this is what Makaveli is doing, and it seems to be fine for him. Now he's spending the rest of his food on gatherers. And he's also scouting around with this All-Stark after building a house and the dock. Like, now just a word on the map. Looking at the map, like, I really like Makaveli's fish. He's got 3 fish right here under the dock, and then 3 more fish further out, and another 3 fish here. So this dock sort of has 9 fish right under it. And then to the left, like this, like if he builds another dock here under this walrus, there's 3 fish here, 3 fish here, 3 fish here. That's another 9 fish. So there's like 18 fish that he can cover with just 2 docks if he sees this. So it's definitely a really nice map for Makaveli. Now he's got 7 on wood. Now he's going to put I think he puts 2 more doors onto gold. I remember from watching this replay. He puts 2 more doors onto gold, and then he puts the next 2 onto cows. Right now, if we look at MyIsisBestGod's map, his starting dock is slightly out of position, but then he was maybe a little bit lucky, or I don't know if this is lucky or not, but then he has this trio of fish somewhat close to the dock, but not as close as it could have been if he tried to scout for a little bit. And then this other dock here, it's got 6 fish here, so he's got not quite as much fish as Makaveli, but then he is Isis on this map, and Isis is very good on Midgard with the cheaper docks. So despite these 2 docks not having that much fish, he's going to just be able to spam more docks and control more fish, no problem, because he's Isis and his docks are really, really cheap. Now, back to Makaveli. Looks like Makaveli is now building his 2nd dock here. He's also built a house. Yeah, he's built his 2nd house before making this 2nd dock. He's going to build a 3rd house for 45 maximum population right after that. So Makaveli has scouted a trio of fish here, so he's going to build another dock here to gather from this fish. And in the meantime, he's making mostly dwarf-based economy, seeing as you should have a lot of food income later on to be able to queue gatherers from all the fish, and also you want to you want to advance quickly, so you'd rather be spending this gold than spending food in the arcade cage, and you can make the gatherers later on to balance out your economy on water. So I think that's what it is. And with Thor, like, even if you don't balance out your economy that much with Thor, it doesn't matter too much because your dwarves have really good gather rates, like almost as much as regular villagers. Though I still do think it's better to have regular villagers gathering food and wood than dwarves in most cases, if you can afford them. But yeah, this way he's going to be able to balance his smooth out his economy better once he gets into the mid game, because he's going to probably be wanting to make more gatherers once he's in the classical age and has all that food income from the fish, of which he has really nice fish on this map. He's also queuing right now 2 All-Starks to help him build. One All-Stark is going here, presumably to make a new dock, and the other All-Stark, I'm not sure what the purpose of the other All-Stark is, but yeah, it looks like just to get out another house and maybe just build another dock somewhere. I'm not sure. But yeah, as Norse, like, if I don't make All-Starks in the arcade cage on water maps, I always feel like I don't have enough builders, because just like this one All-Stark needing to run around all the time and build docks in different places and then build houses, build temples, it's just not enough. So it's actually pretty common on water maps for Norse players to build extra All-Starks out of their town centers, so they can have more builders, and yeah, it's definitely worth it, I think. if we look here, Makaveli is about halfway through Classical Age, while MyIsisBestGod, he's not quite going to be advancing yet. He's just finishing his temple off now, and it looks like he's going to have the food to advance right now. Yep, he does have the food to advance, so he's going to be advancing in about 5:55, like maybe 50 seconds later or so than Makaveli. Not quite 50 seconds, like maybe 45 seconds later than Makaveli. And also, I believe with less fish, so Makaveli is actually advancing faster with more fish. I mean, let's just pause the game and have a count of the fishing ship numbers. Yeah, well, Makaveli has 17 fishing ships, so he's doing really well on fishing ships, while MyIsisBestGod. Yeah, MyIsisBestGod, he's got 15 only. Well, he's got 16 actually. So he's actually got less fishing ships than Makaveli, despite advancing earlier. So yeah, Makaveli's doing really well right now on water. He's also saved up the resources to grab this second town center quickly, which he is going to be doing. He did make an extra off, so he's going to be able to get this town center up faster, and that's very nice. Yeah, I do think that having this all-star building this TC is probably just like worth it on his own to make an extra off. One of the issues with Norse taking this fast second town center is that it takes so long to build, you know? Like it's really nice because you're not using villager time to build it, but if you go for a fast town center as Norse, you can't build it fast, and then it gets denied very easily. You see Makaveli, he's clicking a lot to get this Persine upgrade, and he's finally managed to afford it. I'm not sure from which dock. Yeah, the Persine upgrade increases the gather rate of your fishing ships by 30%, and that's really big. It's basically like hunting dogs, but for fishing ships. And when you have 17 fishing ships, that adds up to a lot of resources very quickly. So definitely worth getting, and good on Makaveli for getting that. While if you look at MyIsisBestGod, I'm not sure if he's opting to get that Persine upgrade yet. He is getting Persine upgrade himself as well, and he's got 19 fishing ships right now, so he's got a bit more than Makaveli, which is to be expected since he's advanced a bit later. But he's not quite getting his second town center. Instead, he's making some cabinets on what to fight water. While Makaveli hasn't quite got the resources to be making like as many longboats as MyIsisBestGod since he went 2 town centers. You see the 2 hour ships here just passing by each other, and the Sphinx just it's just hammering away at this armory, which is not really a good purpose for the Sphinx. Like, you should be I feel like you should be maybe scouting the map a bit more with the Sphinx, and maybe you might find spots to raid or get more information. Like, working on this armory is not a good use of the Sphinx's time. And if he's not careful, the Sphinx is gonna get picked off. It's gonna get picked off. Yep. But this might be too late for the Sphinx. Oh, if he pathed it a bit better, it could have gone away as well. So that's really unfortunate for MyIsisBestGod, losing the Sphinx there, like that. As you can see here, we see a cabinet 1v1ing a longboat, but the longboat, it does have more damage than the cabinet, so it does win the 1v1. But then this second cabinet's coming out, and it's going to be able to clean up this longboat, no problem. And these 3 cabinets here, they're just doing such a massive amount of work on Makaveli's fish eco. Like, he went from 17 fishing ships down to just having 5 fishing ships out now. So these 3 cabinets, they're making it basically 12 food gatherers idle for Makaveli. Absolutely huge. So yeah, these 3 cabinets are definitely paying off for MyIsisBestGod, and he's continuing to follow it up with more cabinets, which just to make sure that Makaveli doesn't come back on water and kill these 3 cabinets. So yeah, this is like, if he can stop Makaveli from gathering food with these fishing ships, that would be absolutely huge for MyIsisBestGod. Makaveli is also going through bragging. It looks like he's going to be up at about 8:30, which is quite fast considering he went for a 2 town. He's gone for 2 town centers. Like, this Like an 830 heroic age with 2 town centers is pretty good. It's a pretty good timing. He's also got some production out, and he looks like he is going to be grabbing this town center quite soon. He's just securing this place. It also kind of secures a gold mine. And nope, he's actually building a market. Yeah, he's building a market, so he's building a market, so he's going to be to be able to go Mythic Age soon. Oh man, I can't ban this bot in my chat. This Joanne BNP. It's a bloody bot, and I can't ban him because I'm on Restream chat and not Twitch. It's so annoying. Yeah. Anyway, right now we see MyIsisBestGod's efforts on water. They are sort of paying off right now, but he has to be careful about these warborges just killing his cabinets. Like he definitely does. Like these cabinets definitely have done work on Makaveli's water and stopping these fishing ships from gathering. But right now this dragon ship just killing these cabinets for free. You need to be really careful not to lose your expensive arrow ships to these siege ships. Like as long as your arrow ships are moving, they actually won't get hit by this siege ship. Like as you can see, the siege ship did manage to hit a shot on it, but it did very little damage. Like it only hit 1 projectile, I think. If you if your arrow ships keep on moving, then the siege ships they won't actually hit the arrow ships. So if you're in classic against heroic on water, you got to really micro very hard. Well, actually, MyIsisBestGod isn't classic anymore. He's got some ramming galleys, and he's prepared to push back on water. But it might be too late. He did do some delay on Makaveli and forced Makaveli to gather these cows. But Makaveli has already clicked through Balder at 10 minutes and 7 seconds, so he's going to be in Mythic Age at 11:37, and that's going to be really, really early. MyIsisBestGod in the meantime, he's got quite a lot of units on water. He's definitely going to be able to push Makaveli off water, but the question right now is how well he can actually survive this Ragnarok. I don't see any barracks being built here. He is making an armory. Looking at his resources, he's a bit short on gold. Like he does have really good food income from water. He even has the Salt M4 upgrade. So yeah, he's definitely gonna have the food to make axemen if he to defend against Ragnarok. But then he doesn't have the barracks to make it, and I don't think he has the gold either. So he's got to be really careful. And I'm not sure if he sees this fast Ragnarok coming. Like if he expects this Ragnarok to happen so fast. Like this is an insanely fast mythic. It's like 11 minutes 30, and he's still just like preparing this land push while fighting water at the same time. He doesn't actually have many units on land. He's just got this elephant here, and these 2 chariots. Yeah, I don't think he knows that this Ragnarok is happening at all. Like maybe he should at least be suspicious of it with Makaveli's score being so low, but he's not preparing for it at all. He really needs to be chucking down all those barracks now as soon as possible, so he can make as many axemen as he can before it's too late. He definitely with this amazing fish eco he has right now with so many fish, like he definitely could afford a big army of loads of axemen, just like spelling. Why did he need 3 TC? I think he actually built the town center after advancing to Mythic. I'm not quite sure when he started the next 3 town center, but I guess it gives him a few more doors. I don't think it actually needed 3 town centers. He could have just gone Ragnarok on 2 town centers, honestly. Like it actually probably would have been better to just have the resources and army upgrades. If we look at the army upgrades, they've got copper line upgrades, which is not as upgraded as you'd hope for, but since it's such an early Ragnarok, it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good to have just these upgrades. right now. If we look at Makaveli, he's got 217 population, and he's moving in right now. He's moving in. He's going to be able to destroy this fort completely with this 217 population of rank heroes. Meanwhile, on the left, he got some gold miners here and here, and they moved up here, and they spotted MyIsisBestGod taking this town center, which MyIsisBestGod shouldn't even be making against Ragnarok. He definitely needs all the gold he needs to be making axemen to just defend against this huge wave of Ragnarok heroes. He's also casted Ancestors and Eclipse, but Ancestors and Eclipse is completely useless against heroes, so like it's just pretty much done nothing. But the thing about it is that it does delay flaming weapons a bit, but even with delay, the flaming weapons is going to still happen, and it's going to happen on his main base probably. So it's definitely not looking good. Now all these villagers here building this town center to the right are getting picked off, so that's really bad for MyIsisBestGod. That's he definitely shouldn't have been building this town center, and he should have been running all these villagers away. And right now he's finally starting to build some barracks. Like you see, Makaveli has lost about 30 population in Rag heroes, but then in exchange he's taking out this forward Migdal. He's taking out this barracks, and in fact, actually, a lot of the units he may have lost may have just been ships, which have become irrelevant at this point. And the flaming weapons comes down. It's a huge flaming weapons with so much army over here. It's absolutely huge flaming weapons. MyIsisBestGod, he's only got 70 population. He's only got 70 population. He's rapidly spamming these barracks, but it looks like it might be too late. He doesn't like. With only 70 population, there's just no way that he can hold on to his main base here. And he's going to lose all these buildings for sure. These axemen, they're not going to be able to accomplish much. Just coming out one at a time. Just coming out one at a time. These axemen, they're not going to be able to do anything against these Rag heroes, especially with flaming weapons on. And right now, he's got 22 villagers here. But these villagers, they're all gonna just get picked off by these Rag heroes. They're attempting to flee. But now they're just all falling. Yeah, that's an absolute massacre. That's 22 villagers dead. Now they could have survived if they ran away earlier. They could have survived and maybe just ran around the map and hiding in discreet locations using transport ships to dodge Ragnarok heroes whenever they come. But now they're all dead. And Makaveli, and MyIsisBestGod, he's only got the small pool of villagers here left on this town center, which isn't gonna stand at all against this massive army of Rag heroes. He's building some barracks here now desperately, but that's not going to be enough to defend it. He needs to get these villagers out in a transport ship or something. But in all honesty, this game is actually already over. There's no way that he's gonna hold on. We see Makaveli, he has dropped below the population limit. He's at 145, and he's starting to be able to make gatherers again. As you can see, he has one gold miner, and he's got another idle villager here. But yeah, this army, it's gonna it doesn't matter that Makaveli can't actually make any more. They can't really make much more units after this Ragnarok, seeing as he's completely dominated the land with his Rag army. And these villagers now, they're going to be picked off by the. They're going to be pushed off of this last gold mine left by these Rag heroes, and forest fire comes down. It's gonna destroy the gate and allow the Ragnarok heroes to chase. And these villagers, they've got nowhere to go. They're getting flanked now by the Ragnarok heroes. So these are MyIsisBestGod's last villagers. When these villagers fall, MyIsisBestGod will have no villagers left. He won't have any villagers. He won't be able to retake the town center. He doesn't have anything left after these villagers fall. And they're just scrambling right now. Being picked off. Looks like he might escape with just these 4 villagers. But these 4 villagers, they're not going to be able to rebuild this town center. Like mine up enough gold and rebuild the town center, even if they do escape. But he could sell the food to get the gold for building the town center, but yeah, with 1 villager, no, I don't think it's gonna happen. And that number 1 is rapidly falling. Like this villager, it's definitely not gonna make it. This villager as well. I don't know if this villager will make it with how fast the raiding cavalry are. And oh no, this villager just twitched, just turned around. Now this villager is in risk of dying. MyIsisBestGod is making a transport ship to try and save his villager, but it looks like this villager isn't gonna make it. And that villager falls as well, and he's got one villager left. He's got one villager left. That's his last villager. In the transport ship. Makaveli doesn't have any water left, but he's only got one villager left.
Into you.
Now, MyIsisBestGod is just completely knocked off of land. Like, granted, he still does control the water, but...
Into you.
But, like, there's just no way that he can come back on land with one villager. It's just not gonna happen.
In reach.
Well, what would be interesting, actually, is if Makaveli Ragnaroked with absolutely zero resources left. So he didn't have this, he wouldn't be able to make these new villagers. He wouldn't have this one villager here mining gold. He wouldn't have this other villager here mining gold, and he has zero resources. And he has no docks left. That would be really interesting, because that way it would actually be a stalemate. Because he wouldn't have the resources to take MyIsisBestGod's town centers and force a countdown, and he doesn't have the resources to rebuild any docks on water and then chase down this one villager hiding in the transport ship. So that would actually be a stalemate, but then he does have enough, he does have villagers out, so that's not the case here. And yeah, we see Makaveli is going to be winning this game with his amazing 13-minute Ragnarok. He's just picking off these, just like what little army that MyIsisBestGod has left. He sees one villager here now. He's not going to be able to get it because of the transport ship, but then this villager, it's not going to be able to accomplish anything. Now, right now he's just killing all the docks. He's killing all of MyIsisBestGod's docks, and MyIsisBestGod resigns. That was an amazing game by Makaveli. He did have the, like, you have to admit that he did have the much better fish here, but still that was very impressive. The 1137 Ragnarok flaming weapons. Like, if we look at it here, how many rag heroes did he get? So I'm not quite sure. He Ragnarok's at 1140, and he's got how many villagers at that time? He's got 65 villagers, and it goes down to nothing. Though some of the 65 were fishing ships. I'm not sure how many were, but then he had probably like somewhere between 50 and 60 Ragnarok heroes when he used Ragnarok. It jumps up from 18 to 71. So yeah, maybe like 55 villagers ish when he used Ragnarok. I'm not sure exactly how many. It doesn't show on the mythology tab. It shows his favorite soldiers raiding cavalry when it really was Ragnarok heroes. You can see the kill death for MyIsisBestGod. 65 kills to 152 units lost. The kill death is a bit misleading because it counts the Ragnarok heroes as deaths for Makaveli. So if we subtract that, then we can see we can see, I think, about 54 Ragnarok heroes, I think. Yeah, so about 55 Ragnarok heroes at about 11 minutes. Like, you might not think 54 is that much, because like the villagers for Norse, they got up to 120, but then for a 12-minute Ragnarok, that's huge. It's really huge. So Makaveli takes the series against MyIsisBestGod 3-0. Yeah, that was like really well played by Makaveli overall. A good series. Like with these two players, like coming into it, like we really didn't know who was going to win. Like, a lot of people were saying that MyIsisBestGod would come out ahead, and like seeing as MyIsisBestGod is a very prominent Rubly player who's constantly at the top of the leaderboard. Like, most people had good reason to believe that MyIsisBestGod would do very well in this series, but here he is. He's knocked out 3-0 first round already by Makaveli. So yeah, good games. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to casting more games of this event as they come out.